the reason why we don't know, the reason why we're not all evolved, because if we are, some other people would have a problem with that.
But if somebody else has a problem with that, let them.
Okay, so how is the marriage council going to make money? How is the courts going to make money through divorces? How is, this whole system of welfare going to happen if there's two people really being successful? Who's going to need welfare? If nobody needs welfare, if nobody needs living aid, and we're all really, productive, who's going to clean our streets and pick up our garbage and all? You know what I mean? It's all a system, and all we could do is reach one person at a time.
When I was growing up, I used to watch Star Trek. I used to love Captain Kirk and Doctor Spock. No, Mister Spock, not Doctor Spock. That's the person who wrote the child rearing book, isn't it? Mr. Spock. And Gene Roddenberry created a future world, sort of 200, 300 years in the future, where people didn't have the problems that we experience in our lives.
It's
They
crazy.
got over it all.
Yeah.
Everybody had a job to do, everybody had a part to play in society, but everyone was provided for. Now, it sounds like communism, but it's not. It's just enlightenment. And I think that Gene Roddenberry's idea of everybody finding what they're good at in life, that their
Mm-hmm.
calling, the thing that makes them tick. When you go to work, as I did for many years, and go to the job, and you've got to do it because you've got to provide for your family, and they're depending on you, and it's a really well-paid job, and to walk away from it would be financial suicide. You can't walk away, and you're hating every moment of your life to the point where you sat at your desk, as I was one day, and I was having palpitations. I was having a panic attack because
Because it wasn't fulfilling.
I was frightened. There was no escape, and my belief is that had I not been released, they asked me to leave. They said, resign or we're going to sack you. And there could have been a legal case against them, because how can you say this man is not capable of doing his job, which is what they were implying, when I had worked for them 7 years part-time and 8 years full-time? Why did you set on such a man? But anyway, you could have had a legal argument about it. But when they said, we don't want you here anymore, I think that had they not done that, if they'd continued to employ me, I was comfort eating, and I'm still overweight, but I would have probably I'd have had a heart attack. If you have a heart attack in your 50s, that's the end.
Can I
It,
connect that to something?
yeah,
So
sure.
do you think that's what most men do? Is they stay in a situation that they're not happy in for the sake of being the provider, having the ability to be in control of their family and their children and their world, that they stay in those situations and they become unhappy, and because they're so unhappy that they, in a daily basis, going to a career that they hate, that it's not their calling. Do you think that that also blinds them from growing and evolving?
If there wasn't that kind of, if the pressure was taken off financially providing for your family, in the sense that society demands and expects you to make your contribution, that whatever you're good at, that's the thing that you've got to do, and that was the
Where
Star
does
Trek world.
self-respect lie in that as a man?
Say that again.
Where where does self-respect fall into that?
Self-respect comes from respecting, in my view, in what I'm saying, it's down to you finding out who you are. Because when you know who you are, then you know that there's something that you're good at. The Bible talks about, some people have 5 talents, some people have 2 talents, some people only have 1 talent. But whatever you've got to use it. And
Does a
society,
man, does a man become bitter through the years when he has to stay in a job that he knows it's not his calling, although it's a very financially profitable career?
I think he does. I think he becomes less of a human being. I think he becomes less of a man in his own eyes. He feels demeaned. That's why I don't like this job. Job, just over broke.
Even though he's a good provider.
Even though he's a good provider, he's not fulfilled as a human being. He hates his life. What is the point of being here? I've sat at the traffic lights, and if you go straight on at those traffic lights, you go to the motorway. It's the main highway down to London from Sheffield. And I knew if I drove straight on, I'd be on the motorway. I could be in London in 3 hours. But I turned every day, I turned right at the traffic lights and went to the office. And I
How
didn't.
how long did you do that for?
How long did I do that? 8 years. Sitting at the same desk for 8 years. And I'd
Would you
worked
say
for
you say
seven.
you're the same person in those 8 years that you are now?
Am I the same person? No.
Did you change?
I did. Yeah. I got really. I went. The lady who took over my job, she came from a company that the turnover was much higher, sort of 5, 6, 7 times higher. And she said, Andrew, I can't keep up with you. I don't know how you did all the work that you're doing. I'm having to rationalise it. I can't produce the reports that you were producing. I said, oh, I thought it was a very simple thing that I was doing. She said, no, it wasn't. It was a very, very good job. And I said, she said, and people are so full of praise for you, Andrew. They keep saying, Andrew this, Andrew that, and Andrew, yeah, it's everything is so amazing. She said, I just feel like I'm keeping this chair warm for you. I said, no, that's your chair, and you're very welcome to it. And then I drove away home, up the hill out of the village where it was a building firm I worked for. And I'm just saying to myself as I'm driving away, I'm so glad I don't work there. I'm so glad I don't work there. I'm so glad I don't work there. It's like click your shoes together 3 times and think of there's no place like home. There's no place like home. It really was a weight lifted off me. And that's
So
why I've changed, because I don't have that anymore.
with that experience, what advice would you give to men?
What advice would I give to
Men
men?
who are in that situation.
If you've got a dream, if there's something, in 1996, I met the brother of Roger Black, the Olympic runner. Roger Black was a gold medalist for in the UK at the '92 Olympics, I think it was. Anyway, I met his brother, and I was helping him because my business was bookkeeping, accounts, tax, that kind of thing. And I was trying to help him set up his cash book. I said, "What kind of work are you going to be doing?" And he said, "I'm going to be a life coach." I said, "Oh, what's one of those?" And he said, "Have you heard of Tony Robbins?" I said, "Yeah, I've heard of Tony. I've listened to his stuff of hours and hours of it." He said, "Well, what Tony does with thousands of people, I'm going to do one-on-one." And my heart leapt. That's what I want to do. 1996, 2006, they said, we don't think that you're suitable to work here anymore. We want you to resign, or we're going to have to go through disciplinary, and we're going to have to get rid of you that way. So I said, I don't want an argument. They're going to give me some money. They're going to give me a car. I'm going to walk away. I've been thinking for 10 years, how can I fund my life coaching business? So there it is on a plate for you. And I just walked away, and I followed my dream. Follow the fella that follows his dream. Captain Sensible, oh no, it's from South Pacific, isn't it? If you never had a dream, you can never have a dream come true. And if you've got a dream, if there's something that you really want to do and it's been gnawing away inside at you for years and years, okay, you're the big man and you've got the big salary and you're unhappy and you're fed up with your life and you can't stand it anymore, follow the dream. Just do it. Just believe it. Just run with it. I wish I'd walked away 10 years before. I really do. It wasn't a mistake to follow my dream, because it brought personal happiness. I used to come in the house. I used to be slamming the doors, shouting at the children, shouting at my partner, really angry and upset and fed up, taking it all out of them. And you'll never guess what the boss said today. Just a very unpleasant guy to be with. And then the calm came.